As we're talking right now, Texas Department of Public Safety officers are on the streets looking for those Democrat House members to arrest them and to take them to the Texas Capitol and hold them there until a quorum is reached.
Okay, by now we have all heard about the Texas Democrats who have fled the state of Texas. However, the Supreme Court of Texas is now ordering the ringleader, Gene Wu, to make a formal response as to why they fled the state of Texas.
Yeah, this is just purely insanity.
Now, this is Gene Wu. His Texas House of Representatives profile is still on the website, but he has been identified as the ringleader, and we will get to his response. Not the formal response he's supposed to be writing Texas, but what he's been saying in the media. Now, before we start, make sure to please like the video. It's the #1 way you guys are helping this channel, but it also helps others see the videos as well, and I think people need to see what's going on with these Texas Democrats. They literally might be arrested by the FBI.
As we're talking right now, Texas Department of Public Safety officers are on the streets looking for those Democrat House members to arrest them and to take them to the Texas Capitol and hold them there until a quorum is reached.
All right, and that may, I'm not sure how many, can you tell me how many different representatives that we're talking about are in the state of Texas? I believe you're 6 short right now of a quorum. Would that number bring you to a quorum?
Okay, so the governor of Texas is doing everything he can to make sure these Democrats come back to Texas and we can get this vote going. However, nothing has formally been done yet, and some Republicans are pretty upset about it.
Day 2 on the floor officially have no quorum. And here's a quick update. The number of Democrats who have had their seats vacated by the Republican leadership in this state, 0. The number of charges that have been filed against any of the Democrats who have fled the state, also 0. And the number of Democrats who have been punished in any way, shape, or form, 0. That includes arrests. So we've got some strongly worded arrest warrants, civil arrest warrants. But you know what's better than arrest warrants? Arrests.
And that's how we got here. So the Supreme Court of Texas, and this is the most recent update as I make this video, they are ordering Gene Wu, the ringleader of the Democrats who fled the state. They want him to give a formal response as to why they fled the state and the legal basis you are using to flee the state. Now, for some Republicans, this is not enough. Some are saying this is a strongly worded document, and for others, they can understand why Texas is doing what they're doing. Leave your comments down below, and also make sure to please subscribe to my channel so I can give you guys more updates on this story. I don't want you guys to miss anything.
Just tell me, what was your reaction straight up when you heard the governor was going to the state Supreme Court saying, kick you out of office?
Yeah, this is just purely insanity. First of all, this is not my seat, and it's sure as hell not Governor Abbott's seat. This seat belongs to the people of the state of Texas. And I've taken multiple oaths to defend them and to protect them at any cost. And what we're looking at is a governor who is conspiring with a disgraced president to use unconstitutional, illegal racial gerrymandering to destroy our communities. I have a duty to respond to that. I have an obligation to do everything I can to stop that using every legal means necessary.
Again, these are the informal responses from Gene Wu. He has to make an actual formal response with proper documentation of the law to the Supreme Court of Texas. Now, if the Supreme Court of Texas does not accept what Gene Wu has to say, Representative Wu could lose his job.
The Texas Department of Public Safety is also working with officials in other states to find ways in which we can try to arrest the Texas Democrat members in other states and bring them back to the state of Texas.
Well, that was my next question I was going to ask you, Governor. Of course, Texas DPS would have limited powers to arrest anyone out of state. Most of these Democrats have fled the state for that express purpose. Representative Alderson has said that both you and Attorney General Ken Paxton, though, have looked into whether or not they're funding these trips or fundraising off of these trips, which would amount to bribery.
Okay, so let's break up the confusion. There's so many threats out there. There's warrants. You could be arrested. You can be fined. Here's what's actually going on. Basically, because these are civil warrants for Texas, they have no way to enforce these warrants outside of the state lines of Texas. These Democrats would have to be charged with a federal crime. So basically, Texas is looking for a way for possibly figuring out, hey, this might be bribery, who's paying for these flights, who's actually paying for these Democrats to be doing what they're doing. That would be a federal crime. Thus, the FBI could get involved. Then you could get the Democrats back into Texas.
Governor Abbott, the Republicans say this isn't about racial gerrymandering. They say this is about political competitiveness. And they are now pushing for the arrest of lawmakers like yourself who remain out of the state. Are you worried about that?
I'm not worried. When I think about 60 years ago tomorrow, we're on the eve of the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act. I think about Congressman John Lewis and those freedom fighters who made good trouble, who risked it all. I'm not worried about Governor Abbott's threats of going to jail or a $500 a day fine, because we're standing on the right side of history, making our own good trouble to fight to preserve and protect our democracy.
Look, it's not me saying it. These Democrats don't seem to care. They're not afraid. They don't care about these financial fines, which to the everyday American, a $500 fine a day would be pretty detrimental, which is why Texas is trying to figure out, hold on, are you guys being paid or funded by somebody to do what you're doing? How are you able to just leave the state and not really care about the fines or you being arrested? What's really going on here?
That open up the potential for you to go retrieve some of these representatives who have fled the state?
It opens up several opportunities. One, bribery in Texas is a felony. Felony is the type of offense that we can issue papers to have these Democrats brought back. Another thing, though, that the Democrats don't seem to know, and that is taking or receiving a payment like they have to escape or not take a vote subjects them to forfeiture of their seat. That's going to be one of the legal grounds you're going to see asserted here immediately to seek the vacation or elimination or abandonment of these House seats by the Democrats. So we will remove them from office and call for elections to replace them.
Here's the reality of the situation. Texas is doing everything they can to get these Democrats back in Texas, but the Democrats, they're not budging. They're not moving.
They're abandoning their constituents. And if they want to go vote against the map, that's fine. But running off to Illinois, the most gerrymandered state in the country, I mean, I understand no one in the PR department at the Texas House Democratic Conference must have been at work that day, but it looks horrific for them.
But
to run off
let it be horrific. What I will say about that is that they had to flee. They don't have control.
Had to flee?
Let me tell you, they don't have control of
the
House or the Senate want to pick up seats for the midterm
so
elections.
You get elected,
He's not doing this
so you get elected to represent people in Texas, and your reaction to that is to go to Illinois and hide behind J.B. Pritzker?
They're breaking quorum. That's what they're doing. They're breaking quorum because it is not right.
And that's really the other part of this story. Everything that's happening in Texas is completely legal, but they fled the state. And Scott Jennings is making the point that everybody else is making. You went to the one state, the Democrats fled the state of Texas to go to Illinois, who has already done the thing you guys are not happy with. So to me, this is another, if not the top 5 biggest PR disasters so far for the Democrats.
Hey everyone, State Representative Jessica Gonzalez here, coming to you from Chicago. I'm a proud Texas Democrat, and yes, I'm also proud to help deny quorum to stop Trump's power grab. Donald Trump and Texas Republicans are trying to hijack our democracy again. They called a special session, not for flood relief like they claim, but to redraw maps mid-decade in a blatant illegal move to steal congressional seats. They're slicing up Black, Latino, and working class communities so their votes don't count. That's not democracy, that's cheating. So we left Texas to deny quorum because sometimes the only way to fight back is to stand up and walk out. This isn't about Democrats or Republicans. It's about whether your voice matters, your vote, your power. We're not.
What's also interesting about this entire story, there seems to be a lot of different definitions of what we think bravery is. Like, you know, growing up, it's face your fears. I don't ever remember growing up and it's, hey, walk away from your fears. That's how you face the fears. Bit of a contradiction. I'm not saying these Democrats are afraid of these Republicans, but a lot of people are calling out, we're saying these Democrats are brave, but you're running away. So you guys can leave your comments down below how you feel about all of this.
They're trying to take away seats in the Congress because they know that in 2026, they're going to lose. And so they need to steal seats from Democrats in order to try to maintain control. We're going to stand up against them. And most importantly, the heroes in the other room, our Texas House Democrats, they're standing up for what's right.
What are your thoughts right now about the national implications of this? Of course, in Texas, we know what's happening right now. But what could be next if they're allowed to get away with it there in Texas?
This is the perfect segue because the Trump administration has already responded to the legal implications on a nationwide scale. Before we get to that, I just want to highlight what the governor of Illinois just said. He's referring to these Democrats as heroes, elevating them up to a new status of being a hero.
Today, under the leadership of President Trump and Attorney General Pam Bondi, this Civil Rights Division is continuing to protect equal and transparent ballot access with vigilance and resolve. We are investigating violations of federal voting laws. We're ensuring that all 50 states have and continue to have clean voter rolls. We are challenging efforts to suppress or dilute the vote. We are attacking illegal race-based gerrymandering, and we are protecting ballot access for all Americans. We have sued jurisdictions such as North Carolina for not registering voters properly by first verifying their eligibility. We have notified Texas of grave concerns about congressional districts drawn with racial motivations, and we are suing other jurisdictions where there is evidence of ineligible voters on their voter rolls.
At this point, I have no idea how many legal battles are being fought for the Trump administration against other Democrat states, from sanctuary states to other states who might be drawing up their lines without the proper legal jurisdiction. So I will try to keep you guys up to date with that story. That's brand new. So make sure, again, to please subscribe to my channel so I can keep you guys updated on what's going on with these other states who might start doing what Texas is doing, but on the Democrat side of things. Now, this next clip is actually the governor of Massachusetts who's saying because these Democrats fled the state of Texas and Texas wants to start redrawing their own lines, we might start doing the same exact thing in Massachusetts.
Isn't it a sad state of affairs that that's where we're at, okay? And, Donald Trump, Greg Abbott, Ken Paxton have left us no choice. That's the reality. Nobody came looking for this, right? We had a system of free and fair elections. We have maps that are regularly drawn, voted on by legislatures, approved and signed off on by governors. This is the way the system works until this comes in. And so, they've left us no choice. It's not where anyone wants to be. I can tell you that governors I know, maybe with the exception of this person in Texas, evidently, we want our constituents represented. We want the voices heard. Whether you vote for me or not, I want your voice to count. I want your vote to count. Unlike Greg Abbott, who doesn't want your voice to count and doesn't want your vote to count, nor does Donald Trump, nor does Ken Paxton, because they're proposing to completely rewrite a map out of nowhere to take away the votes and the voices of Texans.
Now, I think some of you may have caught this, but what you will notice is a lot of these Democrats are appealing to emotions. They are saying, you are taking away the rights of these Texans. This is destructive. This is terrible. This is bad. How could you do this? They are not appealing to the law. Whether or not you think this is dumb, you think this is the worst thing ever, that's not really what the point of any of this is. You have lawmakers who fled the state because, emotionally speaking, they are upset with what's happening. They have literally said that. They are not upset that this is legal. They are upset that this is happening. And that's where we have some conflict. Texas is saying this is completely legal. The Democrats who fled don't like it.
This isn't my seat. This seat belongs to the people of the state of Texas. Until the people of the state of Texas tell me to go away, I will stay here and fight with everything that I have. This is not about me. This is not about Democrats. This is not about political power. This is about protecting what we believe and love about America. If you believe in this country, stand up for it before it's gone, before Donald Trump and Greg Abbott steals all of it.
And again, that was Gene Wu. He's the Democrat who's supposed to submit this formal response to the Texas Supreme Court. Again, he's appealing to the voters and saying, look, this is not my seat, it's the voter's seat, but he did not make that video in Texas. He is currently not in Texas as I make this video and when he made that video.
But number two, if it's rigging the election, that's your words, in Texas, is it going to be rigging the election when all these Democrats who say they're going to gerrymander in the other state, are you also going to argue that they're rigging the election or just in Texas?
Yes,
and have the
do not
elections
agree.
been rigged in Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Maryland, New Mexico, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, and Rhode Island? Have they been rigged there as well? Because there, the proportion of Republican vote comes nowhere near what they have in Congress.
They did a normal redistricting process. If states end up going, like if states end up going and calling special sessions and doing all of these things to try to gain seats, I agree. I don't agree with that. Do I think they need to do it? Absolutely.
Look, here's the thing. Democrats know this happens within the Democrat side of things. But for these Democrats to flee Texas, in my personal opinion, I know why they did it. I understand why they did it. And now they're getting national attention. They might be even getting some global attention. But I think the perception here is not great for the Democrat Party. This is my opinion. You can leave your comments down below, because now it's forcing other governors and other people who've been elected, not within Texas, and other commentators to admit that, yes, other Democrat states do this, and now you can see how this turns into a bit of hypocrisy. That is my opinion. I really appreciate all of you guys for being here. Thank you guys so much. God bless, and we'll see you all later.